Welcome back to Book Summaries channel. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly while others struggle despite working hard? Today, we are diving into the granddaddy of all personal development books, the legendary Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book isn't just about making money. It's about a mindset that can turn any dream into reality. Napoleon Hill begins by introducing the concept that thoughts are things, and when they are mixed with purpose, persistence, and a burning desire, they translate into riches. He tells the story of Edwin C. Barnes, who had a burning desire to become the business associate of the great inventor Thomas Edison. Barnes didn't have the money or the connections, but he had a mindset that refused to accept anything less than success. He started in a menial position but kept his goal in sight until the opportunity finally presented itself. This chapter emphasizes that success comes to those who become success conscious. It sets the stage for the 13 steps to riches by showing that your mental attitude is the starting point of all achievement. Hill argues that we are the masters of our fate because we have the power to control our thoughts. If you truly believe you can achieve something and back it with action, the universe will eventually provide a way. Most people fail because they quit when they are 3 feet from gold. This chapter challenges you to decide exactly what you want and to believe that you will eventually get it. The first step toward riches is the development of a burning desire. This is not just a simple wish or a hope. It is a deep, pulsating obsession that leaves no room for the word impossible. Hill outlines a concrete 6-step process to transform this desire into its financial equivalent. First, you must fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. Third, establish a definite date by which you intend to possess the money. Fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once to put it into action. Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the first 4 points. Sixth, read your written statement aloud twice daily, once before retiring and once after arising. By doing this, you are conditioning your mind to accept the reality of your future wealth. Desire is the white heat that fuels all great human achievements. Without it, you will lack the energy to overcome the obstacles that inevitably appear. You must burn your bridges behind you and make success your only option. Faith is the second step to riches and is described as the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration and translates it into its spiritual equivalent. Faith is a state of mind that can be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instructions to the subconscious. You can literally trick your subconscious mind into believing you have already attained your goal. Hill explains that any thought that is repeatedly told to the subconscious eventually becomes a belief. This is why positive self-talk and visualization are so critical to success. If you fill your mind with fear and doubt, you will experience failure because your subconscious will act on those vibrations. Conversely, if you act as if you are already in possession of the wealth you seek, you will attract the means to get it. Faith is the only known antidote for failure. It is the basis of all miracles and all mysteries which cannot be analyzed by the rules of science. To master this step, you must eliminate all negative emotions and cultivate a sense of absolute certainty in your outcome. Autosuggestion is the agency of communication between the part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and the subconscious. It involves the use of affirmations and self-administered stimuli to reach the subconscious. This chapter serves as the bridge between the first 2 steps and the practical application of the philosophy. Hill reminds us that no thought can enter the subconscious mind without the aid of the principle of autosuggestion. This means you have absolute control over what material reaches your inner workshop. However, simply reading words without emotion will produce no results. You must feel the emotions behind your affirmations for them to be effective. Your subconscious mind is like a fertile garden. If you do not plant seeds of success, weeds of failure will grow by default. Spend time every day in a quiet place, visualizing your money and repeating your written statement with deep feeling. Over time, your subconscious will begin to create the plans necessary to acquire what you want. This is a practice of mental discipline that separates the wealthy from the poor. It is the tool you use to build the character and habits required for great success. There are two kinds of knowledge, general and specialized. General knowledge, no matter how great in quantity, is of little use in the accumulation of money. Success requires specialized knowledge organized and intelligently directed through practical plans of action. Hill debunks the myth that knowledge is power by stating that knowledge is only potential power. It becomes actual power only when it is organized into a definite plan of action. You do not necessarily need to possess all the knowledge yourself if you know where to find it. Many successful men, like Henry Ford, were not educated in the traditional sense, but they knew how to surround themselves with men who possessed the specialized knowledge they needed. This chapter encourages you to determine what specific knowledge you need to achieve your goal. If you lack it, you must find a way to acquire it through schooling, experience, or by hiring others. Lifelong learning is essential for those who want to reach the top. You must never stop expanding your expertise in your chosen field. The person who stops learning after they leave school is forever doomed to mediocrity. Specialized knowledge is one of the most abundant and cheapest forms of service available, yet it is the foundation of great fortunes. The imagination is the workshop wherein are fashioned all plans created by man. It is where the impulse of desire is given shape, form, and action. Hill describes two forms of imagination, synthetic and creative. Synthetic imagination involves rearranging old ideas, concepts, or plans into new combinations. It doesn't create anything new. It just works with existing material. Creative imagination is the faculty through which hunches and inspirations are received. This is where the finite mind of man communicates with infinite intelligence. The creative imagination works automatically when the conscious mind is stimulated through the emotion of a strong desire. Both types of imagination must be used to accumulate wealth. You need synthetic imagination to build practical plans and creative imagination to receive the grand visions of your future. Like a muscle, the imagination becomes weak if not used, but it can be revived through use. This chapter tells the story of how an idea worth $1 million was born from a single flash of imagination. Riches start with an idea, and ideas are the product of the imagination. To succeed, you must learn to stimulate your mind and trust the plans that emerge from your internal workshop. Everything man creates or acquires begins in the form of desire, which is then translated into plans. This chapter provides a blueprint for creating those plans. Hill advises that you should ally yourself with a mastermind group, a collection of people who can help you carry out your plan. Before you start, decide what advantages you can offer the members of your group in return for their cooperation. Meet with your group at least twice a week until you have jointly perfected the plan. You must maintain perfect harmony with every member of your group, or failure will result. No one has enough experience or ability to ensure the accumulation of a great fortune without the cooperation of others. If your first plan fails, replace it with a new one. If the new one fails, keep replacing it until you find one that works. Temporary defeat is not permanent failure. It only means that your plan was not sound. Most people fail because they lack the persistence to keep creating new plans. Hill also discusses the qualities of leadership and why some leaders fail while others succeed. Organized planning is the difference between a dreamer and a doer. It is the process of taking your vision and turning it into a step-by-step reality. An analysis of over 25,000 men and women who had experienced failure disclosed that lack of decision was near the top of the list. In contrast, Every wealthy person Hill studied had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and changing them slowly, if at all. Most people who fail to accumulate money are easily influenced by the opinions of others. They allow neighbors, friends, and the media to do their thinking for them. Hill emphasizes that you have a mind of your own. Use it and reach your own decisions. If you are influenced by opinions, you will not succeed in any undertaking. Those who reach decisions quickly know what they want and generally get it. Procrastination is the opposite of decision and is a common enemy that almost everyone must conquer. Great leaders make decisions firmly and stand by them until they are proven wrong. This doesn't mean you should be stubborn, but you should be independent in your judgment. The world has the habit of making room for the man whose words and actions show that he knows where he is going. Indecision is a habit that starts in youth and can lead to a lifetime of missed opportunities. Mastery of decision-making is a critical skill for anyone seeking financial independence. Persistence is an essential factor in the procedure of transforming desire into its financial equivalent. The basis of persistence is the power of will. Willpower and desire, when properly combined, make an irresistible pair. Most people are ready to throw their aims and purposes overboard at the first sign of opposition. A few carry on despite all opposition until they attain their goal. Persistence is a state of mind, therefore it can be cultivated. It is built upon definiteness of purpose, desire, self-reliance, definiteness of plans, accurate knowledge, cooperation, willpower, and habit. Hill provides a 4-step formula for developing persistence. First, have a definite purpose backed by a burning desire for its fulfillment. Second, have a definite plan expressed in continuous action. Third, keep your mind closed against all negative and discouraging influences. Fourth, form a friendly alliance with one or more persons who will encourage you to follow through with both plan and purpose. Persistence is to the character of man what carbon is to steel. Without it, you are defeated before you start. With it, you are certain to win. Every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage, but only the persistent person will stay long enough to find it. Power is essential for the accumulation of money. Power may be defined as organized and intelligently directed knowledge. Hill introduces the Mastermind principle, the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. No individual can have great power without the mastermind. When two minds come together, a third, invisible, intangible force is created, which may be likened to a third mind. This is the psychic phase of the mastermind. By surrounding yourself with people who have the skills and knowledge you lack, you can achieve far more than you ever could alone. Andrew Carnegie attributed his entire fortune to the power he accumulated through his mastermind group. This principle provides you with 2 types of benefits, economic and spiritual. Economically, you gain the cooperation of others to help you reach your goals. Spiritually, you gain access to the collective wisdom and energy of the group. If you choose your associates wisely and work in total harmony, your power will be irresistible. This is the driving force that turns plans into reality and thoughts into riches. Sex transmutation is the switching of the mind from thoughts of physical expression to thoughts of some other nature. The emotion of sex is the most powerful of human emotions. Because of its power, it can be harnessed and used as a creative force for the attainment of success. Hill argues that the men of greatest achievement are men with highly developed sex natures who have learned the art of sex transmutation. When this energy is redirected into creative efforts, it can lift a person to the status of a genius. Sex energy provides the drive, enthusiasm, and persistence necessary for great accomplishment. However, this energy must be used constructively. If it is dissipated through overindulgence, it destroys the willpower and leads to failure. Most people do not learn to transmute this energy until they are 40 or older, which is why many don't achieve great success until later in life. This chapter is about self-mastery and channeling our strongest biological urges into our highest professional and personal aspirations. By learning to control and redirect this force, you gain a magnetic personality and a level of creative energy that few others possess. The subconscious mind consists of a field of consciousness in which every impulse of thought that reaches the objective mind through any of the five senses is classified and recorded. It works day and night, regardless of whether you are awake or asleep. The subconscious mind acts first on the dominant desires which have been mixed with emotional feeling, such as faith. You cannot entirely control your subconscious mind, but you can voluntarily plant in it any plan, thought, or purpose which you desire to transform into concrete form. This chapter emphasizes the importance of feeding the subconscious with positive emotions. Hill lists the 7 major positive emotions: desire, faith, love, sex, enthusiasm, romance, and hope. He also warns against the 7 major negative emotions: fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, and anger. Your subconscious is the connecting link between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence. To tap into this power, you must make a habit of applying the first 3 steps of the philosophy. Your subconscious never rests, so you must be careful about what you feed it. By mastering your emotions, you master the force that shapes your physical reality. The human brain is both a broadcasting and a receiving station for the vibration of thought. Hill compares the brain to a radio. When the brain is stimulated by a high vibration of emotion, it becomes more receptive to thoughts broadcast by other brains and by infinite intelligence. This chapter ties together the concepts of autosuggestion, the imagination, and the subconscious mind. By concentrating your mind on a single desire, you increase the frequency of your brain's vibrations, making it a more powerful transmitter. The Mastermind group is essentially a way to increase the power of your broadcasting and receiving station. When several brains work together in harmony, the total vibration is much higher than that of a single brain. Hill suggests that we are constantly picking up vibrations from the ether around us, which explains why we often have similar ideas as others. To be successful, you must learn to tune your radio to the frequency of success and riches. This involves mental discipline and the conscious use of the 13 principles. Your brain is a marvelous tool that, when understood and directed, can bring you anything you desire from the great storehouse of the universe. The 13th principle is known as the sixth sense. It is the part of the subconscious mind which has been referred to as the creative imagination. It is also the receiving set through which ideas, plans, and thoughts flash into the mind, sometimes called hunches or inspirations. The sixth sense cannot be described to a person who has not mastered the other 12 principles, because such a person has no knowledge with which to compare it. It is the pinnacle of the think and grow rich philosophy. Hill shares his own practice of the invisible counselors, a mental exercise where he held meetings with great historical figures to seek their advice. Through this practice, he developed his own sixth sense and received guidance for his life. This sense is not something you can force. It is something that develops naturally as you apply the other steps. It warns you of impending dangers and notifies you of opportunities in time to embrace them. When you master the sixth sense, you are in communication with infinite intelligence and have access to the ultimate source of wisdom. It is the final step that turns a man of thought into a man of power and wisdom. Before you can put this philosophy into action, you must clear your mind of the 6 ghosts of fear. These are the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, and the fear of death. Fear is nothing more than a state of mind, and since you have control over your mind, you have the power to eliminate fear. Hill provides an inventory of symptoms for each fear so you can diagnose your own mental blocks. The fear of poverty is the most destructive of all because it paralyzes the faculty of reason and destroys imagination. The fear of criticism robs a person of their initiative. To overcome these fears, you must reach a firm decision that nothing life has to offer is worth the price of worry. You must also guard against this seventh basic evil, susceptibility to negative influences. This chapter is a call for mental self-analysis and the absolute refusal to accept negative thoughts. Riches are not possible in a mind filled with fear. By conquering these ghosts, you open the door to the temple of wisdom and the accumulation of vast wealth. You are the master of your own mental house.